Now, let's get to a guy that we certainly know is going to be in the league. We've spoken about this man for about 7 or 8 weeks. A lot of the fact that he dominated the playoffs. It is Will McDowell-White. And then the conversation shifted to every club knocking on his door, understandably. And in the end, he shut all the windows and said, I'm staying home. He's staying at New Zealand. And I think, I'll let you go first. You said it was the best thing for him to stay in New Zealand.
Yep.
And in the end, he agreed.
Yeah, I like it for him. He has a really special relationship with Mody Maor. Now, don't get me wrong. Will McDowell-White's a level of player where he's going to go, wherever he went, he was going to go and play really well. But the grass isn't necessarily always greener. New Zealand came strong financially with a really good, solid offer. Bigger offers elsewhere, no doubt about it. But a really great relationship with Mody Maor. Mody loves coaching him, and he helped him take a huge leap this season with his game. And I like the fact that Will's backed himself and the relationship of the club in to say, let's bet on each other to go another level, like Joe Luala-Chul did with Melbourne United when he signed that 1-year deal a few years ago. So I love it for the Breakers and for Will McDowell-White.
I know you didn't miss the show last week, even though you weren't here. So just to refresh your memory and everyone else's memory, last week you said McDowell-White to the Red Army, they're going to get DJ Hogue, and you gave them the championship. Are you a little less confident on Perth now that McDowell-White stayed in New Zealand?
Yeah, I mean, it's the quality. I mean, that would have changed.
It was a tad early prediction.
Listen, he went out west.
I agree.
That would have loaded them up.
It's a good, it's a good get, isn't it, for New Zealand to hold on to?
It's a fantastic get to keep him. Great quality local, the best point guard in the league, local for sure. Looking forward to see what other pieces they put around him. Would love to see Barry Brown Jr. back in the league. That's really going to tell if this was a great signing or not, him going back to New Zealand, the other pieces.
I like, and you mentioned that relationship that they have, player and coach. I like the idea of having him involved in those conversations about who the best imports are to place around him. We know how talented he is and how great he was last year. And there's no doubt the imports that they had around New Zealand absolutely nailed it. Now, it's going to be hard to do that again. Brantley was outstanding. We've seen in the NBA already. But to have that relationship and those conversations with your lead point guard would be interesting to see, because if they get it right again, who knows what can happen. We've continually spoke about building around your Australian players, all right? How much easier life is when you have incredibly talented, on the verge, if not in a Boomers team, Australians. McDowell-White, done. Locals, good call. Locals, McDowell-White, done. Doesn't that make life easier? And now the conversation we had with Chris Pongras a couple of weeks ago on this very show, they have led the way perfectly the last couple of years and been able to win championships based around Xavier Cook, Dejan Vasiljevic, and then getting great imports. Now the other clubs have to stand up and make sure they get the right guys. Adelaide would argue they got the right guy, Mitch McCarron. We've got to see how it plays into the new season.
Well, I'm fascinated to see what Sydney do here, because no doubt they're in the conversation with Keanu Pender. That went in a direction they didn't want to go that far. They were in the conversation with Will McDowell-White. They were in the conversation with Bull Quall, who re-signed with Cairns. So, you know, part of it is where the bidding gets to a point where you say, you know what, we don't feel like we want to necessarily do that. But at the same time, you got to build your roster with high-level guys.